Now the way that they use report the thing. And now PDP don't call lambast the same government. They talk say say Nigerian government don't get so used to be keeping quiet when people die. Tinubu-led government, now they talk. Say when people die, they just keep quiet and say they don't make killing and kidnapping normal thing. Because Tinubu go just keep quiet like saying a normal thing. Say it don't dey too normal. This one, they're too embarrassing for our country. The reason that they ask this question are because, say courts rearrange Shawore because of say he call President Tinubu a criminal. Because say he say Tinubu talk say he don't stop corruption for Nigeria. Then Shawore say, but na lie you lie, now this is a criminal for lying. You understand? So they can't say the DSS can't rearrange and tell and say for calling the president a criminal, he don't cost Nigeria international embarrassment. So people now don't they talk, say no vex. This one where our government can't deny something will happen for themselves. I beg, that one no dey more embarrassing. Say they deny the killing of the lives and the kidnap of the people where they swear and go to protect. And make I just let you respond to this very quickly before we enter other matter the really ground, sir.
Yes, historically, Nigeria has a deep root.
That's the sound of an American.
Just let you respond to this very quickly before we enter other matter the really ground, sir.
Yes, historically, Nigeria has a deep-rooted culture of denials. We're not a country of truth. Nigeria was founded on fraudulent machinations by the British. So we have needed lies and denials to maintain that particular program. If you tell a lie, to maintain that lie, you must
tell another lie.
Tell another lie. So that's the contradiction. That's Nigeria. Now that we have had these killings, instead of the government coming clean about it and then sitting down with those who wish to help, no, it's now involved in denial. It took the Americans coming here on their own and visiting Benue State to actually be convinced that the Nigerian government is steeped in its historical culture of denials. So yes, we are historically that way, and whoever is dealing with us will have in mind that they are dealing with a government that is historically known for dealing in denials. Well, the world has moved on because before the world raised their voice, there was actionable intelligence about what was going on in Nigeria, and then the Nigerian government, complicit in what was going on, couldn't stop it, and it took the international intervention for even Nigerians who were afraid of the government to start now to speak openly that yes, this tribal ethnic cleansing program being carried out by jihadists, it's a problem. And if you look at it, historically it's been this way for very long. Since the agitation started by Islamists in 1978, it has not stopped. And if you check through their history, you will see Islamists never ever agreed to equality. That's why the country has had trouble. They do not ever admit equality, and they will never, because they've never done that. And that's the reason why most people are thinking that probably it may be a good thing to have this country divided along some religious lines, since the Muslims are not going to accept to coexist equally with the Christians in Nigeria. That is a fact that we have to tell us.
Hell. So like not follow my culture and be Nigerian. It's so what does this mean for the image of Nigeria, especially for a country that has paid about $9 million US? Say before this $9 million US, it did the time when we pay some million of dollars or so to launder image. Remember, it was in the news. Then this one now don't pay 9 million now. So this one now to handle the narrative of Christian killing, genocide differently. But with all this launder money we spend to manage our image, what does it mean that we're still doing something that will make the world not see us? What does it mean to our image generally? And especially the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu? Because now your administration, not be him the killing start we have to be fair to him. But now your administration, now they don't the top say they hide this kind of thing will happen. Not be saying because they don't hide. But since this is happening in his administration, and the most attacks will happen, we barely also see him for some of the attacks will happen. So what does it mean to our image?
Well, it simply shows us as a country with a leadership that is incompetent in calibrating a response, an intelligent response to the Fulani crisis. And it didn't start here. It started in Central African Republic. Then he got to Mali. He got to Mauritania. So all along, we saw the Fulani crisis across the Sahel. And we didn't plan, no. We were in denial. That's the truth. And as the thing bettered in Nigeria, Nigerian government don't even know how to deal with it. You now see governments like government of Katsina who were in bed with Buhari and who understood Buhari's arrangement, negotiating away the territories of their state to the terrorists. And now that they see that Nigerian government seems to be listening to what the US administration is saying, can you imagine that? They start releasing the terrorists from the cells who are held, and they're asking them to go. And when you ask them, say, no, that they've had arrangement with local authorities, that is irresponsible. It shows you that the federal government doesn't have a national grip on what's going on. It's not on the same page with some of these governors, like governors of the Katsina state government, who seems to be heavily complicit in the terrorism within their area. And if you ask me, I'll tell you, it is a complicity of states like Katsina that actually gives a lot of Nigerians and members of the international community, the problems that we all feel. I think it was very, very
Problem solved, sir. I need intelligence data. The ship is on fire. Torpedoes, dead ahead. Torpedoes disarmed.
Oh, network not today now. I beg, make una sorry for us more now. Make we get the same conversation. I beg that they beg on our network. All right. So whilst we're waiting for that to happen, I don't know if you guys Barrister Frank Uto and maybe video can you hear me? Go ahead, sir. Let me let you land. Let me let
yes,
you land.
what I'm saying is,
Mm.
now that we've seen that the Katsina state government is deeply complicit in what the terrorists are doing on his land, giving out money, protecting them, and even making sure the federal long arms of the law don't touch them, doing anything it can do in Katsina state to protect the terrorists. We have to probably use Katsina state as our exemplary state. If we get it right in Katsina, then we can, double that particular strategy in the other parts of the country. Katsina state is the first state that actually embraced this terrorism and is in cahoots with this terrorists. No matter what anybody says, their open actions have shown that the government of Katsina state is deep involved in all the preachings that President Buhari did advise in regard to the way he accepts that the terrorists should be part of Nigeria and part of the acceptance protocols that he thought would be laid out to those who attack and levy wars against the state. So I think anything we have to do to understand this crisis, we must use Katsina state as.
But we've had other states too, like I think we've had other states like Kaduna State also, because even Shinguni mentioned them, use them as references. And states like Kaduna State, they are beginning to negotiate, and that there's relative peace because they're negotiating, they're in talks with them. We've seen them now in Kaduna State. When at the end carry, we see different terrorists and carry gun, everything come out for during a peace meeting where they call them for. So not the only Katsina State men don't call them good. But you see, all of these things what we do now, what make me ask is what's the name to the international community for the image of Nigeria, for the front of the world, say we do things like this.
Well, the international community understands what's going on. They know that it's not all of Nigeria that agrees to mortgage Nigeria's internal security for the sake of giving advantage to these terrorists. The world knows. Just all federal executive members of the federal cabinet that are in agreement.
At Sweet James, our trial attorneys bring decades of courtroom experience and a deep commitment to fighting for the injured. We understand how much an accident can change your life, and we're here to help you recover and move forward. When your life has been impacted by an injury, call Sweet James.
Kaduna State and Katsina State. So there are states like that whose governors secretly were in cahoots with these terrorists. It is nationally where we had denials and all this. There are no denials in some of those states where the states go actively and actually show their hands. So I don't think it's proper if the same people who sponsor this terrorism got in and became charged to court for terrorism, but they were actually the ones doing the terrorism by funding terrorism all over the country and trying to use the one they were funding in the East as a distraction, and then to put it on Nnamdi as if he was the person funded it. No. Now we know. We have to sit down and then think along those lines. Now we have discovered that the people funding terrorism all over the country are the same one group of people that were funding the jihad. And we have now understood that they were funding terrorism in the eastern part of the country as a distraction, whereas they were doing the real terrorism across the north, in the Middle Belt specifically. Now that we understand it, and Sheikh Malami is under arrest, I think the government has to start now to do what it should do, releasing Nnamdi. And now that we have, that it was the government hiring all those Biafra Nana proxies, making all those noise in the east to the terrorism was happening. Buhari's government has gone. It is no more there to fund terrorism in the east. Terrorism in the east has ceased. Right? Terrorism in the south, in the north, is on autopilot, and that's why you see it still sustaining, because that's where we really have the terrorism going on. The ones funded in the east were just make-believes, where they were using proxies. Now that the federal government is no more funding it on a national scale, the unknown government sting operation has ceased to exist. It was a covert operation by the Buhari administration. Now we have seen all that. I think it makes sense that Nnamdi and those arrested in the east for the trumped-up charges of terrorism should be allowed to go with. And then we can start from there to look at the other broader issues. You were talking about the $9 million investment.
Yes, sir.
The Nigerian government is a very shameless government. Okay, if we have to spend all that kind of money just to try to lie, unless we are in support of the killings, and it has to take the government to be in support of the actions of the Fulani militias for them to be trying to spend this kind of amount of money to not pretend it never happened. Then you see, like I told you last month on this station, I said they are acting late. The train has already left the station. Nothing is going to reverse where we are right now. The world has, after over a decade that this crisis started across the Sahel, gathered enough intelligence about what's happening to make their own sound judgments. And the world knows about the religious genocide across the Middle Belt. The Middle Belt in northern Nigeria is a place in the north that holds the largest pool of Nigerians, and it is a Christian majority area. And that's where these problems are. So killing people in the Eastern Belt.
Unlock the world's largest, most liquid financial market with Forex.com. Forex, or FX, involves trading one currency for another. It's a big deal with a daily turnover of $7.5 trillion. Forex markets are super liquid, ever-changing, and available 24/5. That means one thing: potential trading opportunities. Discover these potential opportunities with Forex.com. Explore 80...
Answer.
It is not acceptable, and I think these things are things that we must say no to. I do not see any reason why anybody should accept that these killings should be defended. I what anybody thinks about this.
Okay.
I think this is the killings. Those who try to defend the actions of the Fulani militia, I condemn them. And they should not forget that we are watching, and we know. And that's why we said the elections should return to being free and fair. But you see, the Sunni minority that captured the state do not want free and fair elections because they don't have the numbers. And that's the truth. Islam never ever will accept equality. And they've never done. And that's why.
There's something against of mine said. There's something against said here. Okay, sir. There's something against said here. And I don't know, I think I should tell you to help us to fact check. He said, he's a lawyer, he said that Islam and democracy have never coexisted. Oh dear. I think his signature took him out. Okay, so when Dr. Kat comes back, I would like to pick his mind of what Barrister Mankey said, because it's very important that, we kind of share opinions on this conversation, make we understand everything, everybody think about the matter. And it's, I look forward to getting to hear what he thinks about it. But still in the news, I did tell you what Oga and Lord Ejimako said very quickly. Okay, so I think Dr. Kat is back with us. Okay, so Dr. Kat, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you very much.
Okay, so I told you that there's something a lawyer said here. It was on Tuesday. He did say that Islam as a religion and democracy have never coexisted peacefully. That I should fact check him. Is that correct?
Yes. Democracy is a system that equilibrates society and makes everybody, no matter who you are, to be yours. Okay. Democracy insists on one man, one vote. And that's the way it is. Democracy's insistence on one man, one vote does not sync well with Islam. Islam would rather go with what one preacher read from the Hadith. And Islam will not agree to the story of one man, one vote.
So all the countries, I don't know why this network keeps speaking Dr. Catch. I'll go, Jai. Oh, this network. No, they do Dr. Catch like this now. So,
I am back here now with you.
So are you saying that most of these Islamic countries, they don't have anything like democracy in them at all? And so they didn't practice democracy. Okay, sir. Can you hear me? All right. So whilst we wait for Dr. Catch to react, I did tell you earlier that Omoye Ejimako raised some concerns about Dr. Catch. Can you hear me? I think he's facing some challenge. I do hope that we can rectify that. Dr. Catch, I don't know if you can hear me. So here is something Omoye Ejimako said whilst we're good to get to hear better from Dr. Catch. So here's something Omoye Ejimako said.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now, sir. Can you hear me? Oh no, this is not fair. So Omoye Ejimako did say that the 9 million being spent in Washington, D.C. is to scapegoat Ndimo. That's what he said. All right. Dr. Catch,
yes, I am back here.
Okay.
Islam has never accepted equality. Wherever you see Muslims, there are about 30% in that community. They've started agitating. And this agitation started when Nigeria was about 5% Muslims. And they've never stopped agitating till they now use coup to gain advantage through military decrees. And from then till now, we've never had peace. And that's why you now saw from the military decrees where Muslim officers wrote military decrees to give the Muslims advantage till today, Nigeria has never known peace. They insist that they must be on top. They don't want equality. And that's what has brought us here now. So I think Islam has never accepted equality. It will never do, because it has never done so. That is where I think might lead us to call it a day. The Nigerian project just may not work because the Muslims do not want equality with the Christians.
Now, talking about this, see what Omoye Ejimako post. It talks saying the 9 million being spent on Washington, D.C. to scapegoat Ndimo is treasonable, or it's treasonous, that's what he said. And it underscores why Ndimo continue to feel unsafe and unwanted in Nigeria. The same wicked script played out in 1967 when Igbos were first scapegoated by the media before the slaughter followed. Never again. Let me take the reaction on what he said without preempting you.
Because the state is not sincere. The state has been involved in this. What happened in New York is nothing compared to what happened during the Buhari days. The state, on its own, purposely sponsored hate crimes against Igbos. The unknown government covert operation is a hate crime against the Igbo. It was sponsored by the state. The Biafra Nana covert operation is a hate crime against the Igbos. It was sponsored by the Buhari administration. You can say it has stopped the minute the administration is off, and these things are just not proper. So I think if you start looking at the $9 million paid, which is normal in statecraft, a state playing catch-up campaign money to try to get lobbying up to where it believes it is very much behind, that is why I will not. Because even by the time when we didn't have this kind of contract, you were having...
Do not get a consolidation loan until you see this. Hey, Mario Lopez here, and if you're thinking about getting a consolidation loan to combine your credit card debts or your personal loan debts into one, then there are 3 things that you should know.
Dr. Catch,
I can hear you very well. What I'm saying is, the state, right from when the British plotted with the Fulani against the Igbo, till when the Civil War ended and the army started against the Igbo, till now, that as you have heard, the Fulani insist they won't allow the Igbo rule. And because they don't want the Igbo to rule, they keep damaging the country's democratic process. No matter how you vote, they will annul it and then tell you go to court. So a lot has happened in the state's attempt to scapegoat Igbos. It didn't start today. It's not going to end today. So Igbos who have also learned to deal with it, to work within it, I commend them. There are Igbos who are also hired and paid to actually go public and accept Igbo guilt, blame Igbos. A lot of them exist all over. You see some on television, the other day you were talking about one, and after those discussions we've had, that person has gone silent because the person realizes how very dangerous what money is being used to damage him and himself. But then, as I said, this is the way. Find weak Igbos, pay the money and use them against Igbo interests. It happens every day. So the state would never have succeeded in the covert operation during the Buhari days without willing Igbos who were also employed to come on television, go to social media, do skits, accept Igbo blames. Yet, it was all federal cabal and their member spending all the money that we've now seen on terrorism. Can you imagine the very man writing the laws, Malami, as Attorney General, is the same person currently being arrested because
For terrorism financing.
exactly the federal government
So the
has
same thing with Delta
the
Nnamdi
data. Yes, the same thing. Him, Attorney General, was writing papers and coining as charges against Nnamdi Kanu. Those were the things that him, the Attorney General, was actually using Nigerian money to perpetrate. Don't you see how evil the system is? Yes. So you're talking about the one in New York. That one is just recent small thing. I'm telling you for the ones here. The ones being done here.
But people
They're the
talk
ones
about
being done.
alleged now. Now alleged until he's proven guilty now. Now waiting.
Those things, alleged is one thing. The one they do in New York is small. The one they do inside the country is bigger. Much bigger. Yes. The country is not moving forward. You want to agree to build seaports in the east, all part of that strategy to subjugate the Igbo. It has never stopped. And why? Because the Igbo represent the largest pool of Christians in Nigeria. So you see now the religious angle. It's always been religious angle. It's always been there. And then you deal with the Igbo. Another set of Catholics in the north, the largest pool of Catholics in the north, the TV, you deal with them. So they target these groups that are heavily Christian, infested, and they go after them. So we are beginning to get far more intelligent. We're having better information about what ails us. And I think it's better now than it was before. Before, people lived in total ignorance. Now we know that if the violence sustains for more than 48 hours, Nigerians now know it is the federal government that's doing it. So that Abacha maxim is true. And that was how we knew. As the violence across the country sustained for more than a week, more than a month, we knew it was the federal government doing it. And the minute the Americans came in and said, if you don't stop this, we'll do this, what happened? The federal government started giving instructions of, do not stay there. If you hear anybody shoot at you, shoot back. So that was how we now canceled the doctrine of do not engage. Who gave instructions for do not engage? People in the Ministry of Defense. You see that? So telling you that the Fulani militias and all these Islamic jihadists got that, victory, and they were constantly getting ahead over and above the abilities or so-called abilities of our armed forces, was simply because the sponsors of the jihad and patrons of this terrorism are in government, and they were telling the soldiers, do not engage, even though they shoot at you. Don't shoot back until you hear from us. Simply telling you that them inside government are complicit in the terrorism. And the minute, because of the American intervention, we changed that policy, what happened? Though it has not totally stopped, but it's much better today than it was before. So if we're not going to have one country, I think it's a good thing that we peacefully split. It's an experiment the British did, but the British arranged it to fail, because as I said earlier, at the end of the colonial period, why did they still let the Fulani continue to colonize the Hausas? It was the British who organized it.
Hello, my name is Adam Ferrari, the Chief Executive Officer of Phoenix Energy. I look forward to you joining us.
You set your workers, the colonial period is over, but you also allowed another set of colonial workers to continue to colonize. So Nigeria wasn't really free. It was free in the south, but not free in the north. And those who got an advantage to work, as the British said, now thought they should get murderers as a strategy to seize the country by force. And what we had was waves of ethnic cleansings that became genocidal as they set on a slow motion jihad. This is where we are now.
All right, sir.
Who
All right,
blame
sir.
the British? Yes.
All right, so very quickly, speaking about what Aloy Ejimakor said, and you do know that, he said this because of the New York Times report of the screwdriver. What did they say? A screwdriver. Say, what make Donald Trump attack Nigeria on strike? See, Donald Trump rally on the report of just a screwdriver seller on his side. I don't want to say up we can market for nature. So now you rely on when they can strike. So that's why Aloy Ejimakor said that the reason why they paid that money is just to use media as smear campaign against Igbos, and that's really bad. But then somebody who's part of those who reported to the US has responded. I posted him here, different occasions on the show. He's a citizen of Benue State and an indigenous of Yelawata. During that Yelawata, I can tell you, he's a barrister and he's a lawyer. He lives in New York. He's spoken about the $9 million and what government has done about it and how they say, he named different people who came together and talked about this and wrote about this to the United States. And I wondered why Nigerian government failed to mention them. But is that mentioning, and New York Times is not mentioning it, that if the New York Times as a journalist, as New York Times, as a press, as a media house, shouldn't they have the right reports? Shouldn't they be able to at least do the investigation to the US Congress to find out those who reported to them and know that there were people in the Middle East, there are bishops, there are other indigenous in the Middle East or Middle Belt rather, who were part of those who, reported. Let's quickly take a listen to, a short video he did. It's a bit long, it's 8 minutes thereabouts. Let's take a listen to him, sir.
Yeah, hello friends. A lot of things are happening in Nigeria and it's quite heart-wrenching, so extremely disturbing. It looks like these people will never, ever stop. And of course, there's nothing that will indicate that more than the fact that instead of this guy to act, they went as far as coming to the United States to contract lobbyists, the DCI lobby group, to help in polishing their image. Because, like we keep saying, the best way to polish one's image is to act. But these guys, for the fact that they are contracting over $9 million, they are contracting the DCI over $9 million for just a year, the highest ever that the DCI group has ever gotten. It's an indication of the fact that they are not ready to start. So we're in for a very long thing. You see, I've never in my entire life ever thought that I would want a different country from these guys. But I'm facing reality right now because these guys don't want to stop. The Fulanis who have been killing people every day in Nigeria have the support of their people from the caliphate to those in government. Because if those people from the caliphate, from the Sultanate to the likes of Erufai, to the likes of Danduji, to the likes of Ribadu, to the likes of even Shetima, will come together and ask these people to stop. I'm telling you to stop today. But they will never stand up because it's a collective agenda. That's the truth. That's the truth. Look, the genocide happening in Nigeria is the worst form of genocide anywhere in the world. The worst form of genocide anywhere in the world. And that is why the official records captures it that out of every 10 Christians killed in Nigeria, 7, out of every 10 Christians killed in the world, 7 are Nigerians. Killed by the Islamists for what? For what? Look at what happened this weekend, this Sunday in Kaduna State, in Kajuru, in Kumiwali. 3 churches were raided by Fulani terrorists, and 177 persons were abducted, kidnapped. 11 escaped. And right now, the Fulani terrorists are with the abductees in the forest, the Christian abductees, straight from the church. The government of Kaduna denied, the police denied, and the chairman of the local government denied. You see, these people are so wise and so strategic, like I keep saying, to plant people within our midst. Like the chairman is a Christian, but he was denied what happened to his own people. So these people, these Fulani Islamists, have planted people all over, our own brethren. If you come to Benue State, from the state government level to the local government level, infiltrated, they plant so much people. Plateau State the same, National State the same, Kaduna the same. And that goes to show the agenda that has been there. And for any agenda to succeed, there must be moles. So they've had so much moles. For some of us, we're not surprised because even Judas, even amongst the 12, there was a Judas. So imagine amongst a million, how many Judases we have. On the flip side, just imagine what happened in Kajuru this Sunday. Let's imagine that it was a mosque. Sunday service in Christendom is like Jumat, the Jumat mosque on Friday for the Muslims. So just imagine that a Jumat mosque was going on. And then a Christian militia group, like the Biro militia group or a T militia group, operating in, let's say, Kanu or Bochi or Jigawa, goes to these 3 mosques and abduct people during Jumat. Just imagine. The Islamists will call this the recorded in the history of mankind. And they'll start burning everywhere. So we'll be so tolerant. You see, people like, I know how many Muslims I've lost because they say, oh, Fran, we thought you are not like, I've never been like this, but I've been on the defensive. I've seen my community become destroyed. I've seen people I grew up with completely be killed for nothing in their own land. Fulani do not belong to the State, for instance. So there's no justification you come into communities and killing people and then you need to say it was cattle grazing. Cattle grazing, we regulated cattle grazing. You refuse to abide by it. You say you want Sharia. In Nigeria, look, we are a secular state. I keep mentioning this example that Senegal is 95% Muslim, but there's no Sharia. We just watched what happened in Morocco recently, the tournament, the AFCON. You could see Moroccan ladies in the stadium with their hair free. That is a free society. Religion should be private. Hijab does not originate from Islam. It started right from the Jewish period up to Christianity. But they feel that Christian ladies do not are wayward. No, it's because the religion allows liberty, and so it feels that look, if you can adhere to what Christ has preached, good and fine. And so it leaves you at your own liberty. Even the last of hijab covering does not emanate from Islam. It's a tradition of Jewish tradition of up to Christianity. And that's why the Reverend Sisters, they still cover themselves. But we are a religion of liberty, knowing that it's between you and your God. That is how religion should be. You don't force religion on people. And by the way, there is no nation on the surface of the earth practicing Sharia that is a model nation. Not Afghanistan, not Iran. Iran said they are an Islamic republic and they want to spread Islam all around the world. Sharia must go all around the world. They want to stage a jihad. And ironically, the arms they are using are produced in the Christian nation of Russia. They want to use arms from a Christian country to spread jihad. They go as far as an atheist nation, a nation that does not believe in God, atheist nation of North Korea, to develop her nuclear capabilities. And they go to a Buddhist nation and a Tao nation of China to get their air defense system and missiles. So can you see the hypocrisy? You want to use the technology of the Catholic to kill the Catholic to spread Islam. Who does that? Why can't you not allow people to practice their religion in peace? The first 10 most peaceful nation in the world, there's no Islamic country in it. The first 10 most peaceful country in the world, Google them. The first 10 happiest nation in the world does not have any of these guys in it. The first 10 richest nation with the highest GDPs in the world, they're all Christian majority countries, with the exception of China and Japan, which has Buddhist and Tao. So what are we saying? Why can't you allow people to just be on their own? You see what to preach Sharia in Nigeria, and then when other parts say, okay, you can have your Sharia, let's cut off. If you get to the Sultan, I saw a video of them going around preaching unity of Nigeria, oneness of Nigeria. But you are insisting you want to practice Sharia. Why can't you allow other people who want to go? You can practice your Sharia when you cut off yourself and name yourself Republic of Arewastan. like Pakistan or Afghanistan. But you want to practice it in our own land that is a secular country. In our own land. And when people say they want to go, you begin to go up and down preaching this, and then look, the world is modern. The fact that you destroy other people in the past is not possible now. It's not possible. And that is why, even sometimes I look at some of this, the Fulanis have never won any war anywhere, especially in modern times. The fact that they come in the depth of the night and kill women and children, and doesn't mean they are powerful. If they are powerful, let's stand face to face, I don't see the might of these other tribes that they've been killing. Like I keep mentioning, during the Second World War, the soldiers that were taken from Nigeria to fight in the British frontiers in Asia, in Myanmar, in Malaysia, were not Fulani soldiers. They were soldiers from the Middle Belt, chief soldiers, Idoma soldiers, soldiers from Plateau. Majorly, the soldiers during the Civil War who won the Civil War for Nigeria were basically Middle Belt soldiers and Yoruba soldiers. The chief soldiers there, the Angas soldiers, Lantan soldiers, the Yoruba soldiers, Obasanjo, and the Scorpion. You know, the guy who was famously known as the Scorpion. There's no any remarkable Fulani man there. So you are not strong. You're just coming like the devils that you've always been in the depth of the night from the bushes and striking communities, and you think you're strong. Because you plotted so that the soldiers, your people in authority have strategized and plotted so that they will disarm all these communities like they've always done to all the Benue communities, all the Plateau communities and Southern Kaduna communities. And then you come and strike and kill people that you think you're strong. We want peace, we'll be preaching peace, and it's quite unfair.
Okay, all right. I don't want to take more than that so that I don't waste that time so much. Dr. Catch, I don't know if you can hear me. So that's what Mr. Uto said. And one of the things he said towards the end of the interview, say, this attack, say they be cowards, say they're not strong, because if they're strong, may they declare physical fight between them and the communities within the attack. Make communities arm themselves, make them arm, they know who will kill each other for fights. But that because they attack these people on, unaware, when they're unaware, and then when soldiers don't also disarm the community members, so they give them more power to make them feel like, say, they actually be stronger than the communities within the attack. However, I'm sure you heard all the things, including the ones who said that the top happiest countries, the top richest countries and all that, are not Islamic countries. So why do you intend to keep pushing? I don't know, but let me let you respond and react to the things you said.
Well, you need to understand what the Muslims are doing is asymmetric war. And so that's why you're seeing them also in denial whenever Christians start shouting to the world. So it is an asymmetric war. And that's the reason for the government's complicity. And then when you've tried to accuse them of what they are doing, they will get into denial. It's an asymmetric war. So we also need to now find a way, because now we have gotten into another war, the war of narratives.
You said it before. Now you first talk and here. Now your mouth can hear and first. Next thing you want to talk. That's my Arnold. Waiting our government pay money for to beat the war of
exactly. I warned you earlier that very soon we will not enter the war of narratives, because knowing the government for what it is, knowing also the Fulani for who they are, and they are historically deceitful people. They employ the takia as a way of life.
Let's make an exemption. So it doesn't look like a profiling a group of people. We know they are.
No profile. Listen, I'm talking. This is historical. Okay. This is history. Listen, historically, the takia is a way of life, and the takia is that strategy of deceit. If employing that deceit can now deceive the adversary and allow us to gain our way and move forward, that for them is it's victory. I explain this because I understand this.
I'm about to show you something that makes me furious every time I see it. This is a real tax return from someone making $284,970.
We can't have this issue now that we have the vaccine. We can't have network issues now, not at all. We can't be having network issues now at all. Dr. Kacha, you there? Can you hear me? Hello, Dr. Kacha, can you hear me? Oh dear. Okay. Let's hope that his network, would be fixed very soon and he'll rejoin us. For those that didn't join me earlier, I did say that the U.S. Congress has spoken about the attack on church worshippers, the abduction of church worshippers in Kanchuru, local government area of Kaduna State. And then they said, in fact, they spoke very strongly. And they said, what to meet them until it happens for Nigeria. They don't tell Trump take actions. And I said I was going to tell you about the meeting held with a Nigerian government. And that's the details of the meeting of the CPC of Nigeria, and as it's got to do with security in Nigeria. So let me quickly just move in on that. I think he's rejoining us again. Sincere apologies. All right, sir. So let me let you land before we go to the visit of the U.S. Undersecretary General to Nigeria.
What I'm trying to tell you is the deceit, the lying, is also part of the strategies of the war. Okay, this is called takia. And this takia is normally deployed. If you understand the group, you will know that takia, which is deceit in English, it's a well-honed strategy that they use. So you have, this is a total war package. It's an asymmetric war, and they're willing to deploy money to deny what they're doing. And of course, if you go there, you will see what they're doing. And then, but if you catch them red-handed, they'll say, no, it's not. It is farmers' headers crisis. There's nothing like farmers' headers crisis. This is outright plot to grab land through ethnic cleanses. And to do ethnic cleansing, you must commit genocide. And when you commit genocide, you're likely to have this kind of opera as it is right now across the world. So seeing them spend money to try to deny it is all part of the strategies of Takia. The war is on, and you can understand. Anybody carrying out a jihad in modern times, where you have the cameras. I told you, what we have here is a new camera phone. With the camera phone, we can keep records, and the records we keep, we can share. And by sharing this record, the world today is better informed than at any other time in Sharia history. So I think where we are now is good. Nigerians just have to go home and imbibe the lessons of this foreign intervention by the Americans and Israelis. We may have a chance. Since we've tried Nigeria didn't work. There's nothing wrong with us separating, a separation based on lines that can live at peace with themselves. There is no need to pretending. No. The Muslims won't let you rule yourself. They won't let you participate in governance of Nigeria. So you can see what they're doing. When Tinubu say he will build a gold refinery in Lagos, say no, they don't want. But the oil.
Oh, you heard that too. You heard that. No, but the gold refinery, what Tinubu is saying is privately owned, though. And I thought we would have celebrated it. No, but I'm not saying go bring up that matter. So yes, the North is they protest against them. How dare we have a gold refinery in Lagos State when I'm not in gold? But we have oil in refinery in Kaduna State, and we have a lot of modern people with oil well in the North. So does that speak anything to how Nigeria operates? Like if this oil in the Southeast were to be in the North, what do you think would have happened, sir, based on these rejections? Remember the CBN also happened when they wanted to move CBN headquarters, some part of the headquarters to Lagos. The same protest happened, so they wouldn't have allowed it.
Yeah, they won't. They don't want to.
Why is South allowing what is going on? Why is the South allowing what's going on?
Well, because the South one are shell shocked into a fear hole, forced by the years of dictatorship. It's only now we're beginning to wake up to see that the military are no more there. And that's why you're seeing a lot of Southerners now able to speak. Southerners couldn't talk because of the years of dictatorship. And then also they cannot talk because they're afraid of the structures of that dictatorship. Those structures are now instruments of state. And they are always telling you, if you dare speak against the state so designed, so constructed by the years of dictatorship, the state will come at you. And that is part of the reason why we're very afraid. And you can see now, the Muslims won't even allow for Christians to participate in the presidency of this country. So the right thing, and they don't even want the Christians to participate in things like owning seaports, even though you have the ports, natural ports in the Christian areas, like Eastern Nigeria, Southern Nigeria. They don't want that. What they want is only what they will do that will be under Muslim control. So I think we're getting to the point where inevitably we'll have to separate in this country. Nigeria as a project did not work. It didn't work. It has failed. There is nothing to teach anybody anymore in Nigeria. Nigerians have seen it all. So we are now at the point of discussing how to do the restructuring. It doesn't need to be restructuring to put us still in the same swamp. No, that should be a restructuring to allow for self-governance and then self-rule for independence of the different regions that have previously come together to try the Nigerian experiment that did not work. I think that's what we all should be looking at, the restructuring towards this membership.
But the point is, will our politicians accept that restructuring? Because it looks like everyone is happy with Nigeria as it is presently constituted, and that's a problem. But let me quickly run through what the feedback is from the meeting between Nigeria and the US. So details of high-level meeting between the United States and the federal capital and the federal government of Nigeria's over Nigeria's designation as a country of particular concern have emerged. We hear that the US President Donald Trump has, of course, sent the US Secretary General on a visit to Nigeria. So the working group was set up after Trump designated Nigeria under the International Religious Freedom Act. According to the statement, there was a joint press conference between Nigeria and the United States on this. So the working group aims to reduce violence against vulnerable groups in Nigeria, particularly Christians. That's what is stated in the press conference. And to create a conducive atmosphere for all Nigerians to freely practice their faith.
Hey, did you know that SMUD is now paying Sacramento homeowners thousands of dollars upfront to put a backup
unimpeded by terrorists, separatists, bandits, and criminal militias? Now, Nigeria's delegation was led by the National Security Advisor when we go US, and then at 9 visits, and included representatives of 10 ministries and agencies, while the US team was headed by the Undersecretary General of the US, Alison Hooker, alongside officials from 8 federal agencies. Now, the two sides held that what they described as strategic discussions on how deeper US-Nigeria cooperation could improve religious freedom and strengthen security nationwide. They also reaffirmed a long-standing bilateral relationship between both countries, which they said grounded in shared values and pluralism, what they call that, and respect for the rule of law. So they said, a lot of others. Now, both governments in the statement reiterated their strong and unflinching commitment to unfolding the principles of religious freedom and agreed on the need for joint, active, sustained measures to promote and protect freedom of religion or belief for all, in line with the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Participants further stressed the need to protect civilians, particularly members of vulnerable Christian communities, while ensuring that perpetrators of violence are held accountable. On security cooperation, both sides agreed to strengthen both sides said they will strengthen counterterrorism efforts, though operational cooperation through operational cooperations, access to technology, anti-money laundering measures, countering the financing of terrorism, and building law enforcement and investigative capacity, so they said. So the US delegation also commended Nigeria for what they described as urgent actions. One, I don't start to think so far, but inside the matter. Let me take a reaction, Dr. Catch, on the meeting between the US Undersecretary General and our Nigerian delegation led by the National Security Advisor, Omoye.
I would say those are further meetings to fine-tune the US suggestions on the terms of cooperation between Nigeria and the United States. Since Mr. Trump's original pronouncements could set up panic within the Nigerian government circles, the US have done a lot of suggestions to get Nigeria to work with the United States. Nigeria is grudgingly working there, while also doing what the Hawks are saying, that they should keep denying, but it's not going to work. We're no more in the time of denials. Denials don't work. Nigerian genocidal news is not a make-up story, it's real. The Muslims have been fighting here for over one decade, so finally the world has now stood up to take a look, and the world are pointing condemnation and blame fingers against the government for its complicity and its inability to do much to save the vulnerable Christian populations.
All right.
So the US is further fine-tuning the papers and the agreements that they have originally written with the Nigerian government. There's nothing wrong, there's nothing new in what we're saying. It's just that we believe we will see more of that as the US will lead and drive its roadmap for this 2026.
All right. So now you mentioned 2026, 2027, but before we get to that, I'd like us to touch on a couple of other issues very quickly. We know, say, now I don't know what I remember the story of Ali Kafe. The retired Army General, or the forcefully retired Army General, he has called for a full probe into the release of 48 terrorism financing suspects. You know, so you talk and say the names and when we say in release, say they finance terrorism. Nigeria, when the Nigerian government release, that they haven't still, perhaps probed why they release those people on what he calls suspicious circumstances. And we wonder what's in the suspicious circumstances be. Okay, so that being said, Dr. Kachi, I don't know if you're here.
Yeah.
Okay, so that being said, since you mentioned 2027, what do you think, say 2026, what do you say the election will look like for President Bola Tinubu without Shettima as vice presidential candidates? Because Northern has on the top say, make him get ready to lose in votes if he go on without Shettima for 2027. Oh, this network here.
If you can hear me, okay. I don't know what elections will look like. I don't know if we'll have elections.
But the North is saying that running without Shettima, even choosing another person entirely without Shettima, now you find out, now what's in the talk. What do you think about that threat or that statement? Sincere apologies for the troubles. I can imagine how disturbing it is to get in and out of network like this. I beg Nigerians, please bear with us. This is Nigeria.
I don't know.
Yes, go ahead, sir. Can you hear me? Can you hear me, sir? Can you hear me, sir? Oh, yeah. Dr. Kat, can you hear me?
Have you ever wondered how the world's currencies are traded? The foreign exchange market, also known as the Forex market, is the largest and most liquid.
This is really troubling. So whilst we're trying to do that, let me quickly bring you up to speed with something that happened today in court during Shawaree's trial. So you do know that they hold Shawaree on terrorism on account of insulting, embarrassing President Bola Tinubu over the statement when he said President Tinubu know that's a way talk. So today the case was raised in court, and according to him, he said something funny happened in court when the case was raised. But let me let Dr. Catch finish his talking what he was saying. Dr. Catch, please, sincere apologies for this network disruption.
It's all right. We're Nigerians. We're used to disruptions.
It's crazy.
So, as I was saying, I don't want to make predictions about Nigeria. It will be wrong. I believe a lot about Nigeria's politics and what will happen to Nigeria in 2026 will be driven and probably will be reactions to what the Americans do. I believe that to be so. You can see that the Nigerian government don't really have an agenda except to just stay in power. And to stay in power, they will tell lies, do a lot. And the more you lie in the face of what's going on, the more the world will think you're not fit to be trusted to deal with the issue. It's because the more you lie, the more people will think, look, this man is not serious. Look at what we're saying. And he's lying. So how can you trust him to solve the issue when he's lying about it? This is the problem the Nigerian government has before the international community. This is the problem the Nigerian government has with the United States government that's currently intervening alongside the state of Israel in the Nigerian genocidal crisis.
All right, sir. One of the reasons I raise this issue is that we have heard over the weekend that there is some sort of coalition between Kwankwaso and P2B pushed by former President Olusegun Obasanjo, saying don't even form committee to use, to use a committee made up of people from Obi's camp and people from Kwankwaso's camp, and that he's been marketing P2P to northern block, northern power blocks, so that if you want to see IBB just the day before yesterday, how you see that alliance will work, especially immediately after we finish hearing that one. Now, go here say President Tinubu don't invite Kwankwaso to come for some talks. As Abba Yusuf they come ABC, you don't invite Kwankwaso to know how you will fit his joining both some Abba Yusuf. But waiting, how you see the alliance first of all, Kwankwaso and President Oga P2P, do you think it's possible, and do you think he's looking at other ADC?
I don't know. From the Kwankwaso, I know Kwankwaso may be using P2B to calibrate himself before President Tinubu. That's just it.
So Kwankwaso,
from the Kwankwaso, I know before. Kwankwaso is a very unpredictable politician. He may be using the romance with P2B, so to call it, to calibrate a higher value for himself as he speaks to President Tinubu. That is what I know Kwankwaso to be. He's a man who will tell you one thing in the morning and in the evening he's saying something else. So I really don't want to take it as real until I start hearing from him things that I should take home to the bank. If not so, let's just say that we're hearing.
Okay, all right, sir. So there was something that Hakeem Baba Ahmed, I keep calling him that thing. Hakeem Baba Ahmed said, he did say that one favor, the only good Atiku Abubakar should do to Nigerians is to forget about 2027 presidential ambition. And people are saying, how would you advise a man to forget about his own ambition? Is that a fair thing to say to a man? Can I
yes. Yes. Several leaders in the north are trying to tell Atiku. Atiku is inordinately blind, and he's just speaking for himself, doesn't understand the need for that.
Oh dear, this network conversation we have in 30 minutes, you make us prolong it further. Network, sorry for us small now. I'm so sorry, sir. Go ahead, please.
This problem now, so Muslim leaders are speaking alongside to tell Atiku, stop this thing, so that the Southerners can gain some kind of inclusion.
Let me ask you a quick question. What if you can start and grow your own profitable business by helping other businesses?
As I told you earlier, the problem the Muslims have had is that Islam never accepts equality. Muslims will never agree to equality. They will never agree to a level playing field to share the country with the Christians. And if they refuse, this will not further infuriate the Christians and lead to that mindset of Christians wanting to do away in Nigeria, to stay on their own. You can't let them become part and parcel of Nigeria, and you don't allow them, the Christians, access to governance of the country. This is what the Muslims want. And that's the reasons why you see, not only are they trying to take land from the Christians, but they're also subjugating the Christians in governance, doing all sorts of things to make sure the Christians' voice is lower. Never if we will tell us that the Muslims will pay money to come and sing for them. Check out those singing for Atiku. All of them are Christians, bought from the south to go do dirty work against fellow Christians. So this is a problem that the Christians have in Nigeria. So begging Atiku, as is being done now by Baba Ahmed, to stay off and allow the Christians, the breeder, is a very good way to solve the issue, because it tells you that the foreign leaders understand the issue. They have been over-successful with military coups, with keeping governance for themselves, to organizing the country, and giving themselves all the advantages that the international community are now beginning to notice that Islam will never agree to equality. And because of their inability to respect equilibration, the Christians are very likely, out of frustration, to say, look, let's end this. The resources come from the Christian areas, the human resources, material resources, and yet you don't want us to be part of what's going on. The best thing may just be everybody call it quit. You develop at your own pace, we develop at our own pace. I don't see anything big in it. There is nothing the Muslims are doing for the Christians that the Christians cannot do for themselves to stop. So I really don't see why they should continue to state it if the Muslims refuse on equality. So that's exactly what Baba Ahmed is trying to tell Atiku. Respect inclusion, respect equality, or the Nigerian project will go on.
While you're saying this thing about Islamic dominance, I just remember that. You remember that Nigeria is a member of OIC, right? And we never fit come out ourselves from inside that thing since. The last time when people raise alarm, some Russian pro-Turkey, pro-Russia, the pro-Iraq media house raise alarm about what US will do to Trump and all that. And they mentioned a couple of states that are Islamic states that should come together. And they mentioned Nigeria. Is that not a problem? Why are Nigerian Christians, including pastors, not talking about it? That why should we be part of Islamic states? Or why should we be?
Because of the absence of courage. A lot of them are very afraid. Don't forget, the Muslims took time to gradually force the Christians into this position of subjugation. So, and in all that time, fear crept into the minds of these Christian leaders, and they lost it. All the times, the reasons why I lost it with Adeboye is that for all the times Adeboye was supporting President Buhari, Buhari was busy on a jihad. So if these Christian leaders were busy supporting President Buhari, and Buhari was doing his jihad, Doesn't that tell you something is wrong? It's unacceptable where some of these leaders have led us to. They are not to be trusted. They are not any good. And I believe we should speak out like that and tell them that they have failed us as leaders.
All right, sir. And then very quickly, speaking on issues, other issues, the Labour Party, yesterday there was a landmark judgment about the Labour Party, where the court constantly appealed on the Labour Party, not pass. Even though Sabero is taking to appeal the case, but the court don't mandate INEC to recognize the Nigerian Usman-led group as, legitimate leaders of the party, because the court see a need to get an interim, committee who will manage the affairs of the party before any convention happens. How do you see that judgment, apart from Abure's assistance that is going to appeal? How do you take the judgment? And why is the judgment coming now that PWB has left Labour Party? A lot of them are complaining that it looks like there was the judiciary.
That's the sound of an American oil company hard at work. Want to be a part of it? Listen up.
Hello, my name is Adam Ferrari.
INEC, they were deliberately waiting for PWB to take an action before they'll do the right thing. Let me take your response, sir.
Well, I think the use of the judiciary by the criminal faction of the power elite is something we know. And the judiciary has been in cahoots with the criminal politicians to undermine our democracy. That we know very well. So when you now this kind of sequestration with the judiciary, the politicians and INEC, you will understand what everybody is thinking. They were targeting P2B. And now that they think P2B has gone to that coalition, they have now announced that Nana Dosman can take over. But of course, the other people, Abure's people, are also going to appeal. Don't forget this. And the state, with its capacity and powers over the judiciary, we don't yet know what will happen. So, but yes, the pronouncement by the Supreme Court says that Abure's tenure has come to an end.
Yes.
So if there's anything that will happen now, is that the party can start its processes of canvassing ward, local government, and state congresses to be able to generate delegates, which is what Abure couldn't do. To do those local congresses that will help him generate delegates that he could then take to a national convention where election could be held. I think if the party rank and file and leaders work now within a achieved very easily.
All right, so can you hear me? Okay. Okay. So you just mentioned the court, and I quickly want to take you on that, because we hear now that the minister of your state where you are, the capital, Federal Capital Territory, FCT, don't work out, go tell court to stop workers strike when they go on, currently go on for inside FCT. Even though people they talk say, why would you want to interfere on their strike without meeting their demands? But they don't get court order to stop. In fact, I'm listening to this again, that the growing cold war between the Federal Capital Territory and the UK and the administration's workforce reached a legal flashpoint today, Thursday, as the FCT administration of that week successfully moved to disarm the labor unions through the judiciary. Now, the National Industrial Court in Abuja issued a decisive order of interlocutory injunction, effectively barring the Joint Union Actions Committee, JUAC, from continuing its indefinite strike, which had threatened and to paralyze the capital's administrative unit. Make take your thoughts on it very quickly. Now, these people are making clear demands. The demands have not been met, but courts don't stop them now, saying, oh yeah, no more again, through an injunction. Go ahead.
What the court granted was an interlocutory injunction. It's not a giant judgment. So an interlocutory doesn't stop them from going on a strike. If after 7 days, heaven doesn't fall, and the people who brought the injunction can't prove anything further that heaven would fall, I think it will elapse, and they will continue doing what they're doing. So I don't see an issue. They see within the week. Of course, Labour always don't know how to play their game. They can go around and they refuse to respect what the court says if they are not properly served, which is what government itself will also do. So those things, I don't see any issue in it. Once Labour has that mindset to down tools, you can force them to work. Courts can call them to work, of course. You can.
How difficult is it for Nigerian politicians to meet demands of people who truly work? But it is easier for them to meet their personal demands. A typical example is the severance benefits and, of course, pension of politicians vis-a-vis that of civil servants who have worked for 36 years in the country. Why is it hard for them to know, say, these people don't work more passports? But you as the governor will figure out, get our yearly almost the same rate. Like what vote you try to stop in Abia State that Ojo Zokala and the rest of them are coming for him? As a governor, you're receiving salary the same amount that the sitting governor is receiving. You have right to a house here, you have right to a car and a driver, you have right to this for you and your family members. Instead of reaping the state's dry for successive governments.
Well, it is so because.
So if you're hurt in an accident, call Sweet James, 800-9-million.
It is so very simple. The people you're talking about, the governors, they make the laws. They tell the legislators how to write the laws. They sign the laws. The workers you're talking about don't make the laws. They don't sign the laws. And we are talking that our democracy should normally be representative, but it is not. Those who get in there suddenly think that they're everything, and they connive to pocket the states, keep what belongs to the people, don't care about the people, And when you complain, they will say go to court because they also have strong strengths at the courts. Where some of them, as Wike confessed in the issue of Osun State, that he intervened and got them victory in court. So if you have people who can do such and then come publicly to boast about it, that tells you that the courts are also under capture. Well, but like I normally say, these things don't last forever. Everything that has a beginning will ultimately come to an end. So I don't see an issue or a reason for anybody to think about tomorrow that will never come. Tomorrow always comes, and it comes very quickly, and it comes like karma.
Nigeria's phone lines are open. I know you have questions to answer for cash. Please jump in on the conversation right away. 0817-029-4077. That is the number to call. 0817-029-4077. Or you simply follow the link on the page post, and that link will direct you straight to the studio to join the conversation. So, Dr. Kash, just before we begin to take the calls, there is what is that tweet by Shaware, okay, very quickly. So Shaware posted this earlier today, and he said this now that at the behest of the resumption of his hearing, when he started the case, say immediately then call the case and call the DSS witness, make a talk, and the DSS people come and talk, and then the DSS play a video, to play the Tinubu video that he said that made him Tinubu a criminal, the one where he said that corruption, he has ended corruption in Nigeria. So that they played that video in the courts. But then immediately they play the video in the courts, even everybody for the courts begin laugh, including the judge. That means even themselves not believe the corruption don't end for Nigeria. Make a play a video where they talk up and then take a listen.
What was expected? Last question, they said they cannot name witnesses. Well, last question they said that they can't even name the witness. Today they brought the guy. I think they finally found the witness after last week that we carried that. They brought the home board from DSS, and he said that in all the matters happening in Nigeria, 2025.
It was initially paid.
At the point, he said there was no corruption, and the court erupted.
I can beat my chest for that. It was initially paid, but today the resources.
Listen.
Nothing. It's getting clear to people. We add more money to the economy. No more corruption.
So you heard that. So there was that laughter in court. Be like say, I don't know whether the judge even could laugh because he be like say shock. What does that speak? What did it talk about us for Nigeria? That we will hear that there's no more corruption in our country. Even in the court, somewhere sacred as a court, everybody would throw a laugh. Oh, Nigeria's phone lines are open. Let me take your thoughts on that quickly and open the phone lines to catch. Hello, sir.
There is nothing Showere said in the video that is new. All of them know the truth. When you're reminded of the truth, you will smile, even if there's a dispute about that truth. Anyway, what is in trial is decorum. How do we tell the truth without causing offense? I think that's where we are. So we need to find ways to tell the truth without causing offense. It's like me now describing to you the circumstances and the particulars of an attack. And you say, no, don't mention these people. It's like profiling. But I need to be honest about these issues. We don't talk sometimes because of historically organized fear that's supposed to deter us from speaking on a subject those who frighten us, who threaten us, don't want us to discuss. But we're not discussing them. So it's the same thing. We're not going to be afraid of anybody. Nigeria belongs to all of us. And we are moving towards a reset. I have no doubt. I'm very optimistic about where we'll get to very quickly. There's that thing they call see finish. Nigerians have seen it all. There is nothing that remains for us to say about it. We now know who is who. We know who doesn't want the country to be normal. We know the people doing the terrorism. We know those funding terrorism. We also know their reasons. We know those funding jihad. We also know their reasons. We know those, and we also know the reasons why our soldiers were told, do not engage, even if somebody shoots at you. So it's taken time, and we have found that out, and we have done a reversal of that particular policy. And we've seen the fantastic results we've gotten on the battlefield. So we have learned a lot through experience. So for us to prevent a recurrence tomorrow, there are things that we must do today. So we are considering seriously the words and suggestions from the State of Israel and the United States government as we move forward. Nothing stays the same forever. Nothing cast in stone. A new Nigeria beckons.
Thank you.
Bam.
Good evening and welcome.
That is it. That is where I want to anchor it at. A new Nigeria beckons. Whether it is division, whether it is by election, if you ask me, let's divide the goddamn country. Everybody goes their separate ways. Left to me, if I had the levers of power, if you were to ask me today, if I was in a position to make that decision right now and I had the physical power to do it, that's exactly what I'm going to go for. And I hope it'll be with me. That's what I will do, right? So that everybody will go and answer their father's name. Now, let's say Nigerians feel rough farm. And I said this yesterday. Oh, by the way, greetings everyone. Good morning to you all. I hope you're having a great day. Thank you, caller. Thank you, everyone that has been engaging in the comment section. Please, my likes are very low. I don't know. Please, can you help me take my likes up? Please, can you kindly double, if you haven't liked, can you double tap on your screen device or click on the 3 dots to like? You can also share the video and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you very much as you do. So, if Nigerians are able to rough it to the election 2027, once Peter Obi gets there, Kala, I see your comment and you're echoing my sentiments precisely. I've said this before. We need to have a national conversation. It's not going to be the same. No. We can't continue to live a lie. Clearly, the Fulanis are incapable of assimilating. They should go to where they came from. They don't even belong in Nigeria. So they should go and find their fathers and their land. Please, let's tell ourselves the truth. We cannot go into an election year, somebody now votes, and they are not singing unity. I don't want to hear unity. You get where unity reach, I beg. May anybody go tell, because I don't want. Make we know, all of us don't see ourselves. Just like Dr. Kachi said, every one of us, we all know who be who now for Nigeria. We know who they cause the problems, who know they cause the problems. We know who the liars are, we know who the terrorists are, we know who the people that are funding them. We know everything. Everything has been blown open now. The Fulanis cannot live with us. Fulanis and their fellow Muslim extremists, they cannot. Let them go and form their own society where they can have terrorism as a party. And they can eat it for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Not on somebody else's ancestral land. I beg. Let me see if this person I think this person had a good question. So let's take that briefly and then now move on to other things.
Hello, good evening, Precious. Yes, good evening. Thank you. Welcome. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, my name is Olu. I'm calling from Canada.
You're welcome. Go ahead.
So, Dr. Kenneth, I sincerely appreciate your candid opinion and I followed you, everything you've been saying, maybe not from the beginning, but this is a large part of the broadcast, and I thank you for your honest candid opinions. So, but I want to ask you a question, and I also wanted to react to what Precious said. My question is,
To be honest, sometimes I actually have no idea what's going on until I open Monday.com, and boom, everything.
Shows that all of these APCs are committed, bringing in foreign elements into the country to kill the very people they should be protecting. And after even gaining power, this killing is still continuing. And directing the law enforcement agencies to look the other way. Is this not treasonable felony? Is this actually not treasonable by this very government of APC people that are involved in this action? That's the question for you. And then I wanted to react to your statement about the northern elites making threats that if Tinubu drugs Shutima, then they will lose the northern the vote for them. See, when we keep, if I know you are well-meaning, I know you want progress and you're well-meaning for the country, but the very thing that I quarrel with some of these bloggers and platforms when I go engage them is the fact that they're not very progressive. I doubt if they really mean well, or they're just trying to come and skew stories or parrots the very, very thing that has brought us to this state that we are in right now. Why do I mean that? Look at where we came from in 2023. I'm a Yoruba person. If as a leader, you understand, it's one of the very things I'm very, very, very upset with. Why do you have to be Fulani man? Why? As your running mates. Out of all the northern, well-meaning northern Muslims, Hausas, Mopes, thieves, whatever part of the north they are from, can you can choose that will complement your campaign or your well-meaning whatever you want to achieve. And also, too, Peter Obi showed in 2023 that if you campaign and you connect well with the people, you need everybody to come and threaten you with a northern vote and block or anything. It's all about BS. If they are last by they won't allow a free and fair election, all we need to tell them is give us a free and fair election. Let us allow the leaders that we want to govern us. not just at the presidential level, not just at the governorship level, at the local government level where things are getting rotten. They have pocketed everything. And this is why the North, even the North, I'm sure there are well many progressives in the North who want better change for their people. But because of what has been saying, there are some elites among them who want real change to take place. Because they want to keep power, they want to keep the wealth of the people for themselves. We should stop parroting their talking points. To hell with another block foot. Peter will be shot in 2023. And if you connect more with the people, and that is what you should continue. As he continues to campaign, continue to connect to the people, north, south, east. Please, leave that full and vice presidential candidate you want to. Those people cannot be trusted. They're not a part of us. They have an ulterior motive. That is what I have to say. And my question, don't forget Dr. Katz. Their actions is not treasonable. Is it not breaking the laws of the country? Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. But let me respond to you before you leave. My job here, first of all, I'm not a blogger. I'm not a gossip person. I am a journalist with over 20 years of experience in the industry. Do you understand? I decided to quit from mainstream media. I resigned. I have headed a television station. I have started a TV station from scratch, conceptualized, started. I have started different programs on different stations. My core is programs. Do you understand? And what I'm doing here is for the love of wanting to talk about our country. And as a journalist, I cannot take sides irrespective. I cannot say because of what the northern elites are saying does not suit me or my interest, and I'll not report their story. That will be being biased. And that's what they accuse mainstream media of doing. And me, I'll not come and do it. Is it good? Do you understand? So my point is to raise the conversation. It is up to you what you do with it. At the point where I need to analyze the conversation, I can analyze and say, oh, but they now do this and I'm now balancing. Talk about this side, and balance the conversation. But I am not here to take sides with anyone. I am here to open the eyes of Nigerians on what is happening.
I appreciate you. I really do appreciate you. All the work that you've been doing, I really do appreciate you. But it's just that we have come to a point in our country where we have to vigorously keep our like the good book will say, the Bible will say, the violent take it by force.
I appreciate it. And I'm sure you know that the kind of conversations, I even raise here.
You might be owed $85,000 for your accident like I was, and not even know it. Meanwhile,
most mainstream media would not even get it because the NBC rules will not let them. Do you know that? So you must know that we're taking some risk.
You have done a lot of effort, you've done a lot of work, continue to do your good work, and continue to point out the ills of our society.
Thank you very much. So let's let Dr. Katch react. Dr. Katch, would like to respond to that before we take the calls.
One thing I would like to tell him is our country is currently under capture.
Yep.
And reporting the news, reporting the truth, those are two things. And we can get into trouble for the things we say, depending on who wants to hear what you say. There are those who don't like me because I insist on speaking the truth.
Yeah.
But of course, there are also those who like me because I take the risk in speaking the truth. And I don't make apologies to anybody. I don't argue. Mine is to state the fact of what it is. If there are a set of people wearing blue shirts, I will tell you who they are. And because of my knowledge, I will describe to you their religion. I describe to you their tribe. I'll describe due to the in-depth knowledge I have, even the kind of language they speak and the colors of their t-shirts, if possible. So that's what I do. Now, our country, as I said weeks ago, will get into what I call a battle of narratives. We've gotten into that, and that's what you're talking about. So don't worry about the battle of narratives. It's inevitable. It's here with us. Don't take offense if you hear other people narrate in a way you don't like. No, everybody don't have to say what you want, but just take sense, take what you can, make something in between it, and then move on. A lot of people live abroad. They are listening to Nigerian issues. Some don't know what the truths are. They only get the truth after we do this back and forth, front and back and forth, and then they say, okay, is that what it is? And they move on. That's why you have to be very careful what you say, how we say it, and how you speak the truth. Some people are just about changing the narrative, thinking that's enough. Some people get paid to come and lie. But you see, to tell one lie, to defend it, you need to tell plenty more lies. So right now in our country, I will tell you, don't get upset. People will say what they want. Some people will even get paid to come and deny the truth. But at the end of the day, the truth will always shine. The truth will shine.
Ask you a question about this. Let me post it because of you, I'm going to get this. He asked a question about that. Where is it? Oh, I'm trying to get it for you. Let me get it for you. He asked you a question about what Kawubara just said.
Kawubara just said, what Kawubara just said was the truth. At
so
the time,
if he's confessing to the fact that they went to go and bring these people from Sahel to come and take over so that they can win election, and that he wants wanting us today, is that not treasonable?
You also need to understand the context in which he said it. When Kawubara just said it as a new, he said it APC. That is the truth. It was a party, the APC, that they had joined them. And they were bringing these people to come from Mali, Sierra Leone, Burkina Faso, all to come and fight. He could say it and get away because them who did it are still in government. That's why nobody is touching them. Everybody that he complained about are still in government. So I'm talking to you. So what he says is because he's gotten out of that government and the people who did it are still in government, he said, well, look, this is what we did when we were in government. We brought in these people to come and do these things so that we can win the 2015 election. What he says is true. But why nothing has happened is because the people who committed this act are still in government. The ones who are not in government are people like Malami. So Malami can be arrested and be tried for doing this thing. No, that's Malami. What about those who are still in government, who have not yet fallen out of favor with the government? Then once you fall out of favor with government, like Malami, you will now be reminded of your actions in the immediate past. That's just the truth. So in regards to what Mr. Kawabara just said, those who are currently not in the good books of government are being made to answer for their roles in bringing in and funding terrorism. But those who are still in government are currently walking about free, and nothing is happening to them. That's the truth.
All right, sir. Hello, good evening, and welcome. What's your name? Where you calling from? Please, if you call, can you make it 2 minutes max? I beg you, and I'll be timing you. Please, so that we don't sleep.
I'll use only 1 minute.
Thank you, Precious. Thank you so much.
This is Prince Jamal representing IPOB from Live. I'm calling from United Kingdom.
You're welcome. Go ahead.
Yeah, Precious, I want to thank you once again, and also Dr. Akash. I want to thank him so much. That's something he said that made the ghost pimple to come out of my body when he was talking about the covert operation. I was going on, being sponsored by the Nigerian state in the southeast. I so much love the way he analyzed it, making the Nigerian people and the world to understand what was going on. Because many Nigerians were deceived that IPOB and Mazena, the kind of this leadership, were responsible for all the insecurity going on in the southeast. So the way he gave him accolades for that. So God bless him so much. Then the question is, I want to ask him, he said that he talks about restructuring, that we can go with the restructuring.
Hello, my name is Adam Ferrari, the Chief Executive Officer of Phoenix.
Okay, I think we've had enough of that. So there's a few videos I want to share, of course, from my, let me see. Okay. There's a few videos I want to really share really quickly, and then we'll call it a day until next time. Look at Marco. Is it Makoko or Bimaroko people? Look at the squalor that the Tinubu that built. Makoko, they demolished their houses and everything. So now most of them live on their boats. Look at, this is it. This is it. This is an eyesore. This is the Lagos. So this is the Lagos that the strategy is built.
Live inside boats here in Makoko, above the water. As you can see clearly with their goods, their property and everything.
Yeah.
Why? This is not their decision or a choice. They are left with no choice due to the recent demolition happening in Makoko. Schools have been demolished, houses have been demolished, life has been lost. And the crazy part is that nobody is really talking about this. This is supposed to be trending. This is supposed to be a viral story. People in Makoko are crying for help. There is no plan for them whatsoever. People are living with their children, little children, breastfeeding mother, pregnant women, living inside the boats, on top of the water. This is the craziest thing I have seen my entire life.
Today, Sunday, 18th of January 2026, these people are still working.
We don't have place to sleep and we don't have anywhere to stay. To help me, they should get us for us. See that they do is no cool. I want they'll give us school and our houses.
So you don't have where to live?
No.
Where do you normally sleep now?
In this water. Government have demolished our house, so I'm not going to school again. We do not have anywhere to stay. I want a house. House that will be cheap. And school. I'm not have anywhere to sleep. I'm sleeping in kitchen. And all the family and my daddy, we don't have anything to eat. I need government to do for me now. And they should replace our school again and they should give us house.
Woman you see crying lives alone inside a boat where she sleeps and wake up. I'll be posting her full video and interview on my next post. èèyàn àgbàlagbà tún kú wọ́n tún wọ́n ń parọ́ lókè pé kò sí èèyàn tó kú níbẹ̀ yẹn èèyàn kú ojú 20 lọ.
We started hearing news that they started demolition, putting fire on the houses.
They were burning people's houses.
Burning people's houses. It started like hearing voice, people shouting, crying. Guys were abandoned the home and they stopped the war. And when they stopped the war, these people did not stop. The next day they started demolition, the houses.
That is the Lagos, so that their strategy is built. That is the Lagos that this man built. Okay, now the US, and I think I posted it on my, I shared it on my community post. American soldiers, they are US and Nigeria, they discuss security issues for Abuja as we speak. Okay. There's a particular video I want us to listen to. I think it's this one, and then we'll call it a day.
This video, I typically would not contribute to issues of this nature, but I just felt a need in my heart to share an insight, especially after seeing some excerpts from Speed's stream on his visit to Nigeria. Look, most of the classism you see in Nigeria has absolutely nothing to do with class. It is just poverty with a microphone. I'm going to be very blunt. Now, we see the symptoms every day. People laugh at you for not owning a car, and it's not even because of its value. They laugh because poverty taught them that working is failure. If you live on the mainland in Lagos, you're poor. If you live on the island, you're rich. See, geography is character. People are shocked when they see a popular person in any form of public transport. Why? Because in a poor system, visibility is expected to come with an escape from the reality of common man. Every argument eventually becomes a matter of how much do you have, or how much has that earned you. And I'll tell you why this is so. When institutions fail, money becomes the only credential left. No acknowledgement of wisdom or integrity or long-term thinking or even competence. The irony is that those same things that are mocked here are seen as normal abroad by the same people. Now, let me tell you where this gets scary. The most dangerous thing about poverty is that it doesn't ever stay economic. After a while, it becomes psychological. Money is only the first casualty. Next is values, then morals, then perception. You see, when survival is threatened long enough, people stop asking what is right and start asking what works. That's how shortcuts become normal. That's how corruption becomes smart. In fact, a lot of what we call being street smart here is entrenched in fraudulent activities and dishonesty. And look, this is where Stockholm syndrome sets in. People begin to defend the very conditions that are hurting them. They will mock those who question the system. They will idolize proximity to power, even when that power is abusive. At that point, they have bonded with dysfunction. This is why bad systems are defended by the same people those systems fail. Oppression is rebranded as the way things are. At some point, suffering becomes familiar, and familiarity starts to feel like loyalty. This is a very painful video to me, because now I realize more than ever that our solution isn't just economic. There's the psychological stronghold to contend with, which is even more difficult. And I don't have the answers, but one thing I'll tell you is this: when you're trying to build or grow or think differently, understand this: you are not just fighting a lack of money. You are fighting a mindset that has learned to survive dysfunction and now resists change. Poverty empties the pocket, yes, but it also rearranges what people consider normal. And this is why breaking out from this kind of society is not so common. Because when you randomly release somebody who has spent their entire life in jail, freedom must initially feel foreign. And without proper mentorship, they are going back to jail. So if you disagree with me on this video, I get it. I understand. You are wiser now. Share this video, strengthen your people.
Apt. There's one more video. I think, where is that video? I think is it on my email? Let me see. Let me pull it up from my email. This is a very important one to see as well. Okay. Okay, let me refresh this.
Steal your own money, give you 200 bob, and you'll be the one protecting me. You know, when I was young, my villagers used to go hunting. And they go and kill a large animal with dogs, 6 dogs. And when they are coming home, the dogs are no longer carrying the kill. It is the man. And the dogs are protecting him from anybody. He goes home, slaughters the kill properly, nicely cooks, invites even neighbors who need to go for the hunt. They eat and feast. The dogs are just waiting out there patiently. At the end of it, they collect bones from the table, put them in a sufuria, add some clear water, boil it again, and throw in some ugalis and feed the dogs. The very killers of this slaughter. That is where we have been reduced to. When you are very poor, those dogs, dogs eat once a day. They ate last evening, they went hunting in the morning, they came back in the evening with the kill, they wait for everybody to eat, then you give them water and bones and soup. And they enjoy, they even eat fighting. And then you leave them out, you go to sleep. They protect you with all of their energy because they don't know anything better than you. You have denied them the opportunity to know they could have as well left your home, go to the wilderness, kill and eat it from there and come back full.
How do we get our society to stop living like the dogs?
By conversations like this.
Kama kawaida, you can catch the full conversation on our YouTube
So
channel.
there you have it. Right? That's it right there. Hey, Omo, we need to know what we are doing. You see this 2027 election? If you don't already know, you are going in for war. That is if we still have a country. That is if we still have a country, functioning country. People become conditioned to live within the oppression. Absolutely. The mindset. I said it here before. When I moved to Nigeria intending to stay permanently, it was the mindset that drove me out of that country back. I was like, I can't do this. The mindset is effed up. You are literally talking to somebody who you think should have some sense. The person lives comfortably, owns a car, decent car, everything. You're having conversation with them. All their worth is tied to what they have. How do you communicate with such people? When they look at you, because me, when I moved back to Nigeria, I didn't have a car. I didn't buy a car. So I was taking a bus, I was taking a Okada. I don't send anybody, Papa, because nobody they work for my pocket, right? I was doing things like you would do here, like you take your public transport or whatever. If I tell you the kinds of treatment I was getting just because I did not have a car, because people saw me on Okada. Matter of fact, they were shocked that how can you be taking Okada? I'm like, what is there? It's no big deal. Hey, I'm here, right? It was really people did not understand. They couldn't wrap their minds around that I could be so, The mindset is disturbing in Nigeria. It is crazy. People see you as a threat. You are just coming there. You want to just live normal life and contribute your fair share to society. They are looking at you. They saw me as a threat. Some people were like, oh, she's coming to take our positions. There was nothing I did not hear. This was a couple of years back. It was the mindset of Nigerians that drove me back. Oh my God. Omo. When we get there, we will know. Whoever is going to, when Peter Obi comes in, it's not only just putting money in people's pockets, re-education, re-engineering of the mind. Everybody will have to be a teacher at some point. Everybody needs to go back and be teaching. Each one teach one. That's what we will end up doing. Anyway, my people, now here I go leave am for now. I'll see you guys again later. Kola, thank you very much for being here. I appreciate you. And everybody else, I was able to make it this morning. Thanks to those who liked, those who shared. I appreciate you all. My new subscribers, thank you so much. I'll see you guys on my next one. Do have a wonderful day. Bye. Anyway, my polo, okay, 72%. Ha! Okay, division, Lucy division. Good. All right, guys. Thank you very much. Now, bye-bye.